Hi, everybody. So who in here doesn't know anything about chi running? Maybe a third. So the rest of you guys have heard about it, right? Okay, so those of you who haven't, it'll be new material, and this is going to be a talk about transitioning at T2, but I will also be including a lot of stuff about the technique. So if you've read the book or taken a class or something like that, this will kind of be review, but it also, if you do have the book or the DVD, it'll be some new material, because I've learned a lot more about how to get this information across in the 5 years since the book came out. Okay, so let's start off with you're on the bike. Okay, as he announced, he didn't mention triathlete. That's because I'm not one. But I'm going to do my best to tell you how to get off the bike and onto the run, because I know a lot about running, and I do ride my bike, but it's kind of like with my dog and stuff, so not at the same level you guys do. Mine only costs 3 digits. Okay. So when you're on the bike, from all the triathletes that I've watched and all the cyclists that I've watched, when you're on the bike, you are pretty crunched up. You're getting real aerodynamic, and you're down like this. And then you got to switch from being on the bike, where you're crunched up in a little tiny ball, to being like really expanded, upright, running, stretched out. Everything all of a sudden is the opposite direction. So when you're on the bike, you got to think about what you're going to be moving into, if you haven't already thought about it. But there are things that you can do while you're still on the bike that can prepare you before you even get off the bike. And then we'll talk about actually getting off the bike, and then we'll talk about getting into the run. Okay. When you're still on the bike is the time to fuel, because it's really hard to fuel when you're bouncing up and down and running. So make sure 10 minutes out. It takes at least that long to get a lot of the glycogen back into your system if you burned it all out on the bike. So, start fueling early for the run, so that your body is fueled and ready to go as soon as you take that first step, and it's not trying to digest that stuff while you're running around. So do it early, 15 to 10 minutes ahead of when you're going to be getting off the bike. The next thing, depending on how far your distance is, how many Ironmen do we have in here? A couple. Good. How many half Iron people? More. How many Olympic? Good. And then sprint? Good. So those lower distances are all about even. Okay? So when you're done fueling, you're getting ready to come off the bike, the main thing you want to do is think about what I just talked about, the transition from being collapsed up on your bike to being fully extended on your run. So the one thing that you'll notice when you're on the bike is you're always down like this looking up, so your neck is bent backwards. And when you start off running, the worst runners I've ever coached are cyclists. They got these little teeny tiny short hip flexors, so they start running like this. Okay? Because their head is up, their pelvis is down, their hip flexors are tight. So you want to really work it. Now Al gave some really good, good active stretches, ways to really open up those hip flexors. I would suggest for all of you to really do those kind of stretches, to really get active with your stretching, so that your hip flexors are really open all the time, not just when you get off the bike, but so that your body, you don't spend so much time thinking just about your cycling that you forget to really practice opening up. So like he said, do yoga, do the cobra position, do the lunge position, anything that will help really open up this hip flexor. Okay? So practice those when you're not on the bike, so that when you get off the bike, your body has more of a shape that's conducive to running, okay, instead of running all crunched up. So that's one thing you can do separate from the transition. But as you're coming into that transition, you want to really start lengthening the back of your neck. Okay, now I want you all to sit in your chairs, sit up nice and tall in your chair. And I want you to take your hand and put it along the back side of your head. Okay? And I want you to brush up with your hand, like you're trying to lengthen the back side of your neck. The back, you're just trying to lengthen the back of your neck. You're not trying to lengthen your whole neck, just the back side. And if you'll notice that as you lengthen the back side of your neck, your chin naturally comes down. See if that happens for you guys. Okay? Now here's what I want you to do. Take your hand down. And I want you to try it a couple times, just lengthening the back of your neck, okay? Now, but start off in a real slump. Okay? In a real slump. Okay? Now you're going to be like the shapeshifter, okay? I'm going to be a shapeshifter. I'm going to go from this position to lengthening the back of my neck. Okay? So let's see if you can do it. Go from a slump. Now, lengthen the back of your neck. Long. Good. Like you're trying to support the roof with the crown of your head. Really push up against that way. And when you do that, you also want to let your shoulders go the other way. Okay? Let's try it again. So slump. Now this time I want you to lengthen the back of your neck, but really get your shoulders down. Hold your shoulders down. So you're trying to create as much distance between your ears and your shoulders as you can. And you'll see what this does. When you get off the bike, one of the first things that you should do is lengthen your spine. Okay? Because that's going to really help your support phase like Al was talking about. Every time you come down on your foot, you want to have your body line as straight as you can so that your structure, your bones, ligaments and tendons, your internal structure is supporting your body weight. If you come off the bike and you're collapsed up like this, your muscles are having to support your body weight. So you want to have your skeleton supporting your body weight so that when you're moving down the road, every time you land in your support phase, it's your bones that are holding you up, not your muscles. You need your muscles for other things. Okay? So your alignment is really crucial. Okay, let's try it again. Slump your neck. Okay, now lengthen the back of your neck. Really get it tall. Now you'll notice I've got this big, everybody's got this big muscle that runs from your collarbone here. If I turn my head sideways, let me drop the set out of their ring. Okay? So you got this big muscle here. As you lift up on the back of your neck, it pulls up your collarbone. Try it again. Slump like this. And as you lengthen the back of your neck, your chest will come up without you having to stick your chest out. It doesn't take muscles to do that. So as you lift up your neck, this improves your lung capacity. Okay? So when you get off the bike, you want to straighten yourself up. Okay, let me back up a little. One thing you want to do before you get off the bike, another thing besides fuel, is this. So everybody's used to this kind of keeping a really nice even pedal pressure all the way around. Okay? You've been practicing it forever. Okay? About 200 meters, 400 meters out from T2, only pull up on the pedals. Only up, only up, only up. Because what that's going to do is rest your quads from pushing. Okay? Because you're going to need those when you get off the bike, just so for a little bit of stability in your legs. You don't want to have your legs feel like bricks when you get off, or concrete is in them. How many people feel that when they get off the bike? Almost everybody. Okay? So you want to transition your legs before you get on them.